You stand at the edge, looking into the abyss of failure, wondering why the world has turned its back on you. But let me tell you this, failure is not a punishment. It is not a sign of weakness, nor a mark of your inadequacy. It is, in fact, a teacher, one of the most profound and relentless instructors the world has to offer. It does not pity you, nor does it seek your approval. It does not care about your comfort or your desires. It simply exists, uncompromising and raw, to shape you into something greater than you can imagine. You see, failure is the crucible of strength, the forge in which your true self is forged. It is only through the fires of rejection and the sting of defeat that we are stripped of our illusions and forced to confront who we truly are. The world does not owe you success, and yet it offers you something far more valuable. The opportunity to rise stronger, more resolute than before. Those who fear failure, who run from it, may never realize the greatness they could have attained. For it is in those quiet, painful moments of rejection that the seeds of true power are sown. Embrace it, then. Let failure be your guide, not your enemy. Let it sharpen you, refine you, and push you toward the heights you once thought impossible. For in the end, it is not success that defines us, but how we rise from the ashes of defeat. And those who dare to face their failures with courage, those are the ones who will leave a mark on this world. Do not seek refuge in the shallow embrace of self-pity, for it is the most insidious of poisons. It whispers lies of comfort and bids you to surrender your strength in exchange for fleeting solace. But let me tell you, the moment you indulge in pity for yourself, you forfeit the power to shape your destiny. Self-pity is not your ally. It is the chain that binds you to mediocrity, the weight that drags you beneath the waves of your own potential. Stand firm, as a warrior before the storms of life. There will be no hand to lift you, no crowd to cheer your resolve, and that is exactly as it should be. To crave the pity of others is to admit defeat, to acknowledge that you are too fragile to bear the weight of your own burdens. But you are not fragile. You are not born to cower beneath the shadow of adversity. Within you burns a fire, a force capable of shaping mountains and defying the winds. It is this fire that self-pity seeks to extinguish, turning you from a creator of fate into a beggar of sympathy. Reject it. Reject the siren call of weakness that bids you to wallow in what you have lost. Instead, stand tall, gaze unflinchingly into the face of your failure and claim it as your own. Yes, claim it. For the one who takes ownership of their pain, their struggle, their defeats becomes unbreakable. You do not need the pity of others, nor should you tolerate it. Instead, summon the courage to rise alone, forging your path in silence, without applause, without validation. True strength is not born in comfort. It is born in the cold, unrelenting reality of standing alone, holding your ground as the storms rage around you. And when the storm passes, as it always does, you will not be the same. You will be stronger, you will be sharper, and you will be the master of your fate, not its victim. When the world has cast you down and your strength feels spent, do not look outward for salvation. Instead, turn inward. Within you lies a realm unexplored, a vast and untamed wilderness of power and potential that the chaos of life has concealed. This is the domain of your true self, not the self shaped by the expectations of others, nor the self bound by fear or regret, but the self that stands unbroken at the core of your being. In the stillness of self-reflection, you will find what was lost. The fall, the failure, the defeat, they are not the end, but the beginning of a deeper awakening. When you dare to confront the silence within, you strip away the masks you wear for the world. You see the raw, unvarnished truth of who you are. It is in this confrontation that strength is born, not from the applause of the crowd or the fleeting victories of the outer world, but from the unyielding realization that you possess everything you need to rise again. Do not fear this journey inward. It is not a retreat, but an advance into the very essence of your being. The world may crumble around you, but within there are reserves of courage, resilience, and brilliance waiting to be unleashed. These resources are not handed to you, they are claimed. Not in the noise of distractions, but in the profound quiet of knowing yourself. And when you emerge from this introspection, you will not be the person who fell. You will be something greater, a force tempered by self-awareness, wielding a strength that no failure can extinguish. This is the secret of the unshakable. They do not seek their power in the world. They create it within themselves. And so will you. If only you have the courage to face the depths of your own soul. Within you lies a will that does not falter, a force that cannot be extinguished. It is your will to power, the unrelenting drive that propels you forward, even when the ground beneath you crumbles and the skies darken with doubt. This will is not something granted by fate or bestowed by others. It is yours, born of the very essence of your being. To trust in it is to embrace your true nature, to rise above the chaos of circumstance and seize control of your destiny. The world will throw obstacles in your path, hoping to break you. It will whisper lies that your strength is not enough, that the odds are insurmountable. But those whispers are nothing compared to the roar of your will. This is where your power lies, not in the fleeting comfort of favorable conditions, but in your refusal to bow to them, to act despite the pain, to rise despite the weight, to press forward despite the uncertainty. These are the marks of one who trusts their will, who knows that it is action, not circumstance, that defines success. The weak allow themselves to be shaped by the winds of fortune, drifting aimlessly in the tides of life. But you are not weak. You are the sculptor, and the raw material of your life bends to your hands. This power is not given. It is claimed through action, through persistence, through an unshakable belief that you are the master of your fate. No one will hand you victory. You must take it, and to take it you must trust the fire within you that burns brighter than any storm. When you act, when you move forward despite the odds, you become unstoppable. Each step taken in defiance of failure, each decision made in the face of doubt, strengthens your will and proves to the world and to yourself that you cannot be subdued. This is not arrogance. This is not pride. This is the truth of your existence, that you are not at the mercy of the world. You are its challenger, its creator, its conqueror. Trust this truth. Trust your will. Do not waste your breath crafting excuses to soothe the sting of failure, for each excuse is a thread in the web of self-deception that entangles you. Pity for your own missteps, the blame you cast upon the world, the circumstances you curse. These are the shackles of the powerless. But you are not powerless. To fall is human, but to refuse to seek the truth of your fall is the gravest betrayal of your potential. Failures are never accidents. They are the echoes of choices, actions, and beliefs that were flawed or incomplete. They are the universe's relentless and brutal honesty, stripping away illusion and forcing you to confront the raw mechanics of your existence. The question is not whether you will fail, you will. The question is whether you have the courage to unearth the reasons behind your failure, to dissect it with the precision of a surgeon, and to embrace the brutal truths it reveals. The one who seeks causes instead of comfort becomes a master of their destiny. Each failure, each misstep becomes a stone in the foundation of their strength. They do not lament the fall, they study it. They do not bemoan the lost battle, they analyze it. This is not an act of punishment, but of liberation. To understand why you fell is to arm yourself against future defeat. It is to transform failure from an end into a beginning, from a wound into a weapon. There is no shame in falling. The shame lies in remaining blind to the reasons why. The world will not wait for your excuses. It does not care for your justifications. It demands action, growth, and unrelenting self-awareness. So turn inward. Examine not just the surface of your failure, but its roots, its very essence. Leave no stone unturned, no shadow unexplored. And when you emerge from this confrontation, you will carry with you not the bitterness of defeat, but the wisdom of a warrior who has faced the truth and emerged stronger. Excuses are the refuge of the weak. You are not weak. You are the forger of your own path, and failure is but the fire that tempers your steel. Seek the reasons, embrace the lessons, and rise anew, unshakable and invincible. Pain is not your enemy. It is your crucible. It strips away the unnecessary, the soft, the weak, leaving behind only what is strong, what is true. To walk the path toward greatness is to accept pain not as a curse, but as a necessary companion. It does not ask for your permission, nor does it wait for your readiness. It arrives unbidden, demanding that you face it, endure it, and emerge transformed. Understand this. Every moment of suffering, every ounce of struggle, every ache in your soul or your body is a test of your will. The weak flee from it, seeking comfort in shadows, numbing themselves against the fire. But you are not weak. You were born for something greater, and that greatness lies beyond the threshold of pain. To reach it, you must learn to stand firm, to let the fire burn away the old and reveal the unyielding core within you. Do not resent your suffering. Welcome it. Pain is an instructor more honest than any you will ever know. It does not flatter or deceive. It shows you precisely where you are fragile and forces you to confront it. It does not allow you to hide behind illusions of strength. When you endure, when you push through the agony and refuse to yield, you are not simply surviving, you are growing, fortifying yourself against the storms yet to come. This is the paradox of pain. While it feels like destruction, it is, in truth, creation. It chisels away at the unworthy parts of you, carving out a being of resilience, of power, of clarity. Without it, there is no progress, no transcendence, no glory. The greatest figures in history, those who left their mark on the world, did not avoid pain. They embraced it. They understood that the cost of greatness is high, but the reward is eternal. So, endure. Feel the pain. Let it course through you, but do not let it break you. Let it cleanse you, purify you, make you unshakable. Each moment of suffering is a step closer to the summit, where few dare to tread. And when you reach it, the pain will no longer haunt you. It will stand beside you as a badge of honor, a testament to the strength you forged in its fires. The path of true growth is not paved with the noise of the crowd, nor is it lit by the warmth of constant companionship. It is a solitary journey, a road where the echoes of your own steps become your only company. But do not dread this solitude. Embrace it, for it is here, in the silence of being alone, that the strongest among us are forged. Loneliness is not a curse. It is a gift that few have the courage to accept. In solitude, you are stripped of the distractions that cloud your purpose. The opinions of others, the expectations of society, the endless noise of the world, all fall away, leaving you with the raw truth of your existence. It is a confrontation with yourself, one that cannot be avoided if you are to rise beyond the ordinary. Do not mistake this solitude for isolation. It is not the emptiness of being abandoned, but the power of standing apart. It is a retreat into yourself, not to hide, but to discover the depths of your own strength. In the quiet, you will hear the voice of your will, untainted by the doubts of others. You will realize that you are not defined by the company you keep, but by the battles you fight alone. The lonely path is not for the faint-hearted, but it is the only path to true independence. When you face failure, when the world turns away and leaves you in the shadows, it is then that you find your true resilience. You learn that you do not need the validation of the crowd, that your value is not measured by the applause you receive. You become unshakable, untouchable, because you have forged your strength in the fires of solitude. To walk alone is not to be lost. It is to be free. Free from the chains of conformity, free to pursue greatness on your own terms. The road is hard, yes, but it is also yours. Yours to conquer, yours to define. And when you emerge from this journey, you will not be the same. You will be stronger, sharper, a force unto yourself. The loneliness you feared will have become your greatest ally, the foundation of a power that no one can take from you. Discipline is the fortress within which your true power resides. When defeat storms your gates, when the winds of despair howl around you, it is discipline that stands as your unyielding shield. To let your emotions reign unchecked in moments of failure is to hand over your strength, to allow chaos to dictate your actions. But you are not a creature of chaos. You are a master of your fate, and mastery begins with the unshakable calm of self-control. The world delights in testing you, in hurling storms of disappointment and frustration at your resolve. It seeks to provoke your anger, to drown you in sorrow, to shatter your focus with fear. But do not give it the satisfaction. Meet every tempest with a stillness that defies understanding. Let the chaos around you crash against the immovable wall of your inner peace. This is not apathy, it is power. It is the knowledge that while the world may rage, your spirit remains untouchable. Discipline is not an easy companion. It demands vigilance, persistence, and sacrifice. Yet it is through this companion that you become unbreakable. In moments of defeat, when the temptation to lash out or to sink into despair is at its peak, discipline whispers a higher truth, that emotions are fleeting, but the actions you take now will define your ascent. Do not let the fire of anger consume you. Do not let the weight of sorrow anchor you. Instead, channel these forces, harness them, and direct their energy toward your purpose. In this, you find the strength to rise, not as a slave to circumstance, but as a force of will. Discipline is not merely a tool, it is a way of being. It is the anchor that holds you steady when the waves threaten to pull you under. It is the sword with which you cut through the fog of doubt, carving a path toward your goal. Remember this, the storms will come and they will pass. What remains, what endures, is the stillness within you, the discipline that ensures you are never swept away. This is the secret of those who rise above failure, who turn their defeats into victories. They do not surrender to the storm. They become the calm at its center, the unshakable force that shapes the chaos into triumph. And so will you, if you choose discipline as your guide. The greatest tragedy is not in failing, but in clinging to a course that leads to ruin. Do not let pride or fear bind you to a path that no longer serves you. To change direction is not weakness, it is wisdom. The oak that refuses to bend in the storm is the one that shatters, while the reed that sways survives and thrives. Greatness is not found in stubbornness, but in the courage to adapt, to abandon what no longer works, and to forge a new way forward. Your path is not sacred. It is not immutable. It is a construct, a choice, and choices can be remade. The world changes, circumstances evolve, the ground shifts beneath your feet. What once seemed certain can dissolve into futility. To recognize this is not to admit defeat, it is to embrace the essence of mastery. The rigid mind breaks under the weight of its own inflexibility, but the adaptable mind transforms obstacles into stepping stones. Imagine a river that meets a mountain. It does not lament the barrier, nor does it stubbornly try to push through solid stone. It flows around, reshaping its course, unbothered by the change, undeterred in its journey. So must you be. The river does not lose its identity by altering its path. It fulfills its purpose. The same is true for you. Changing your direction does not mean abandoning your dreams or your essence. It means finding the way that allows you to achieve them. This flexibility is not a betrayal of your ambition, but a testament to your strength. The weak cling to failing plans, paralyzed by the fear of starting anew. The strong see every setback as an opportunity to refine, to evolve, to grow. They do not mourn the loss of an old path. They celebrate the discovery of a better one. This is the mindset of those who achieve greatness. They are unafraid to let go, to pivot, to adapt. Do not chain yourself to a sinking ship. Do not fear the unknown of a new path. Trust in your ability to navigate, to learn, to persevere. The destination remains the same, but the route may change, and that is not failure. That is power. That is wisdom. That is the mark of one who refuses to be defeated by circumstance, who shapes the world to their will rather than being shaped by it. Fear is the shadow that lurks at the edges of your ambition, whispering lies to paralyze you. It is not the failure itself that destroys most, but the fear of failure, an insidious enemy that saps your strength before the battle even begins. Yet fear is not your master unless you allow it to be. It can be conquered, transformed, and wielded as a weapon to propel you forward. To do so is not merely to overcome fear, but to transcend it, to make it serve your purpose. Understand this. Fear is energy. It is raw, untamed, and volatile, but it is also power. When directed inward, it corrodes, devouring your confidence and clouding your vision. But when harnessed, when redirected outward, it becomes the fire that drives you, the force that sharpens your focus and fuels your resolve. Do not waste your energy fighting fear itself. Instead, embrace it, acknowledge its presence and bend it to your will. Let it ignite your determination, not your despair. Your goal is a star burning bright in the distance. Fear will try to obscure it, to convince you that the journey is impossible, that the risks are too great. But know this. Fear only emerges when the stakes are high, when the prize is worth the struggle. It is a sign that you are on the edge of something significant. The greater the fear, the greater the potential for triumph. Do not run from it. Run toward it. Fear is not a weakness. It is a test. It asks you how much you truly desire your goal, how far you are willing to go. Those who let fear dictate their actions are consumed by regret, forever haunted by what might have been. But those who face it, who channel its intensity into action, are the ones who rise above mediocrity. They do not allow the shadow to engulf them. They walk through it, turning every step into a declaration of defiance. You are not a slave to fear. You are its master. Let its voice grow louder if it must, but never let it drown out the call of your purpose. Each time you take a step forward despite its pull, you weaken its grip and strengthen your own. Fear is not the end, it is the beginning of greatness. Use it, burn with it, and let it carry you to heights you never imagined possible. The opinions of others are fleeting, as transient as clouds drifting across the sky. They cast their shadows, but they do not alter the brilliance of the sun. You are that sun. Your value, your purpose, and your destiny exist independently of the judgments of the world. To let others dictate your worth is to hand over the reins of your life to forces that neither understand nor care for the depth of your being. The crowd is fickle, its favor as unstable as the wind. Today, it may cheer for you. Tomorrow, it may jeer. To chase its approval is to chase a mirage, a pursuit that leaves you empty and exhausted. You must rise above this noise, not in arrogance, but in the quiet confidence of one who knows their own worth. The value of gold does not diminish because the untrained eye mistakes it for stone. Your greatness does not waver because the ignorant fail to see it. Let their opinions wash over you, but do not let them penetrate your spirit. Build within yourself a fortress, an unshakable citadel where your sense of self resides. This fortress is not built of ego or pride, but of clarity and truth. Know who you are, and let that knowledge be your anchor. The storms of criticism and the fleeting winds of praise will come and go, but your foundation will remain steadfast. To free yourself from the chains of external validation is to reclaim your power. It is to walk your path unburdened by the expectations and judgments of others. This is not to say you should ignore all advice or feedback, but let it serve as information, not as a decree. Weigh it against your own understanding and discard what does not align with your vision. The sky is infinite, and so is your potential. Do not let passing clouds obscure your view of the horizon. Let them come, let them go, but keep your eyes fixed on your purpose. You are not defined by the shifting opinions of others, but by the unyielding light within you. Trust in that light, and let it guide you forward, untouched by the shadows of the world. To strive for perfection is the noble pursuit of the human spirit. It is the spark that drives us to rise above the mundane, to reach for something beyond our grasp. Yet paradoxically, it is in our imperfection, the very flaw we often seek to erase, that we find the truest expression of our potential. Understand this. Your humanity is not a curse. It is not a burden to bear, but a gift to embrace. The cracks in your character, the missteps along your journey, the moments of weakness, they are not signs of failure, but of life itself. Perfection, in its rigid and unattainable form, is a construct, a distant ideal that cannot be fully realized. But it is through the dance with imperfection that you create your greatness. Each flaw, each stumble is an opportunity to shape yourself, to evolve in ways you could never imagine if you were simply perfect from the start. It is in the struggle, in the rawness of your experience, that your true strength is forged. Perfection is the illusion that lulls you into passivity, but imperfection demands action. It forces you to adapt, to innovate, to transform every challenge into a stepping stone. The human condition is not a flaw to be corrected, but a force to be harnessed. It is what makes you unique, what sets you apart from the lifeless pursuit of an unattainable ideal. You are not meant to be flawless. You are meant to be real, to be dynamic, to be ever-changing. Do not let the idea of perfection paralyze you. Do not allow the fear of imperfection to stop you from moving forward. Every mistake, every failure, every imperfection is a part of your path, a necessary part of your journey. It is through these imperfections that your victories are crafted, not in spite of them. They are the raw materials from which you build your greatest triumphs. Perfection is a static state, a place where growth ceases to exist. But imperfection, with all its messiness and unpredictability, is where life happens. It is where you push yourself beyond your limits, where you discover new depths of strength, courage, and resilience. It is in your imperfections that you find the essence of what makes you truly powerful. So strive for excellence, yes, but do not fear your flaws. Embrace them. They are not obstacles. They are the foundation of your greatness. In the dance between the two, you will find the true meaning of victory. And it is this journey, this beautiful, imperfect journey, that makes all the difference. As we come to the end of this journey, remember this: failure is not an end, but a beginning. It is the forge in which your spirit is tempered, the crucible where your greatest potential is realized. Embrace each setback, each misstep, for they are not defeats, but stepping stones, necessary parts of the path to greatness. Let your failures be your teachers, your fears your fuel, and your imperfections the raw material from which you craft your victory. Never let the world define your worth, for you are the master of your own destiny, and it is through your resilience, adaptability, and unyielding will that you will rise above every obstacle. Take these lessons and carry them forward. Let them guide you through the storms, the doubts, and the moments of uncertainty. And always remember, greatness does not come from never falling, but from rising every time you do. I wish you strength, courage, and the unwavering belief that your victory is not a question of if, but when.